Hi there. Today we're talking about something that's been on everyone's minds, inflation. It's in the news at the grocery store and even at the gas pump. Is inflation crushing the American dream? It's a question worth exploring. The American dream, that idea of a good life with a house, a car, and a comfortable future, feels further away for many. Inflation, the rising cost of goods and services, is a big part of that. It's like a silent dream eater, slowly chipping away at our hopes and plans. But before we dive into the stories of how inflation is affecting real people, let's take a quick look at some numbers to understand the scale of the problem. In the next section, we'll uncover some surprising facts about inflation and its impact on everyday life. Inflation is often expressed as a percentage. This percentage tells us how much prices have increased compared to the previous year. For example, if inflation is 5%, it means that, on average, things cost 5% more than they did a year ago. Imagine a loaf of bread that cost $2 last year. With 5% inflation, it now costs $2.10. That might not seem like much, but these small increases add up across everything we buy, from groceries to gas to rent. Over time, inflation eats away at our purchasing power, meaning our money buys less than it used to. For families on a tight budget, even small price increases can be devastating. They may have to make tough choices, like skipping meals or cutting back on essential medicines. Inflation can also erode savings, making it harder for people to reach their financial goals, like buying a home or retiring comfortably. Meet Sarah, a single mother of 2 young children. Sarah works as a waitress, earning minimum wage. She's always been careful with her money, but lately it feels like she's fighting a losing battle against inflation. Her grocery bill has skyrocketed, forcing her to buy less food and choose cheaper, less healthy options. The cost of gas has made it more expensive to drive to work and take her kids to school. Even the rent on her small apartment has gone up, leaving her with less money each month to cover other expenses. Sarah is constantly worried about making ends meet. She started working extra shifts, but it's still not enough to keep up with the rising cost of living. She feels trapped, like inflation is slowly squeezing the life out of her American dream. John, a retired teacher, has also felt the sting of inflation. He spent his life working hard and saving for a comfortable retirement. But now, his carefully planned nest egg isn't going as far as he thought it would. The rising cost of healthcare has been a major blow. His monthly Medicare premiums have increased, and his prescription drugs are more expensive. He's also had to cut back on leisure activities, like going out to dinner or attending concerts, because everything costs more. John is frustrated. He feels like inflation is robbing him of the retirement he worked so hard for. He's worried about what the future holds and whether his savings will last. Inflation doesn't just affect individuals, it also impacts businesses. Take, for example, a small restaurant owner named Maria. Maria has always taken pride in offering delicious food at affordable prices. But in recent years, the rising cost of ingredients, utilities, and labor has made it increasingly difficult to maintain her profit margins. Maria has had to raise her prices, but she's hesitant to pass on the full impact of inflation to her customers. She knows that many of them are struggling too, and she doesn't want to alienate her loyal clientele. She's caught in a difficult position, trying to balance her business's survival with her desire to keep her food accessible to the community. Inflation has forced her to make tough choices, and she's not sure what the future holds for her restaurant. Inflation can feel overwhelming, but there are things you can do to mitigate its impact. Here are some practical tips. Create a budget. Track your income and expenses to see where your money is going. Identify areas where you can cut back or reduce spending. Shop around for better deals. Compare prices at different stores and look for discounts and sales. Consider buying in bulk or using coupons to save money. Reduce energy consumption. Lower your thermostat, unplug appliances when not in use, and consider using energy-efficient light bulbs. These small changes can add up to significant savings on your utility bills. Consider alternative transportation. If possible, walk, bike, or take public transportation instead of driving. This can save you money on gas and parking. Governments often try to combat inflation through various measures, such as raising interest rates or adjusting monetary policy. These measures aim to slow down the economy and reduce demand, which can help bring down prices. However, these measures can also have unintended consequences, such as slowing economic growth or leading to job losses. Finding the right balance between controlling inflation and maintaining a healthy economy is a delicate task. Some argue that government intervention is necessary to protect vulnerable populations from the worst effects of inflation. Others believe that the free market should be allowed to correct itself, even if it means some short-term pain. The debate over the role of government in managing inflation is complex and ongoing. The future of the American dream remains uncertain in the face of persistent inflation. Will it continue to erode the middle class and make it harder for people to achieve their aspirations? Or will we find ways to adapt and thrive despite the economic challenges? It's a question that will likely continue to be debated for years to come. One thing is clear. Inflation is a complex issue with far-reaching consequences. It affects individuals, families, businesses, and the overall economy. Understanding how inflation works and taking steps to mitigate its impact can help us navigate these challenging times. We need to talk about inflation openly and honestly. We need to understand how it affects our lives and what we can do to protect ourselves. We need to demand solutions from our leaders and hold them accountable for their actions. We also need to support each other. Helping a neighbor with groceries, offering a ride to someone who can't afford gas, or simply lending a listening ear can make a difference. Remember, we're all in this together. By working together and supporting each other, we can weather the storm of inflation and keep the American dream alive. So, what do you think? Were you surprised by any of the information presented here? How has inflation affected your life? What steps are you taking to cope with rising costs? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below.